Hello and welcome to our presentation about the Dalit Revolution. This presentation will center around two documentaries, India's Dalit Revolution and the Dalit Muslims of India. Uh, I'm Felix, and you'll shortly hear from my other teammates, Aspa, Eszti, and Victoria. And in this presentation, we'll try and delve deeper into first providing some cultural background to and context to the movies. Um, After that, providing the main arguments of the films uh, and connecting these to existing literature about the Dalits and the Dalit revolutions, and finally critiquing the films, showing some shortcomings in their representations and in the various ways that the Dalits rise up, so to speak.
About the cultural background of the caste system. In India, the Hindu tradition adopted the hierarchical classification of individuals to obtain a social order and regularity in everyday life. The caste system is ascripted, therefore, the status is given by birth. This old institution has four main castes that are based on one's profession. As we can see here in the picture, the first ones are Brahim, so the priests and academics. The second one is Kashriya, the warriors and the kings. The third one is the Vaishya, it's the merchants and the landowners. And finally, the Sudra, it's the peasant and the servant. Those groups are further divided into 3,000 castes and more than 5,000 subcastes. The system group permits to distribute labor, but also dictates what activity they're allowed to do, who they're allowed to interact with, and their dietary habits. We can see that one group is excluded from the caste pyramid. They are called the untouchable, or the Dalits. Individuals working as grave diggers, street sweepers are considered as dirty and therefore are excluded from society. The Dalits are often suffering from discrimination, getting beat up or killed by higher caste. The Dalits have no rights and economic advantage in society. Hence, in the documentary Dalit Muslim of India, explained that some Dalit convert themselves to Muslim to help escape the prejudice of the caste system, hoping to acquire more respect and better job opportunities. We will see if this is really a solution or in contrary it's not.
The documentary "The Dalit Muslims of India" is focused on the situation of Dalits who are, even though caste system was abolished 15 years ago, are still treated as a social outcast, they are oppressed and they need to do work that are basically unfit for human beings. This oppression and discrimination drives people to convert to other religions such as Buddhism, Islam or Sikhism. There are many challenges for these converts, such as the two-part legal process where they need to appear in front of court, and also that the government needs everything in writing. Even though voluntary conversion should be acceptable in a democratic state, there are legislations aimed at restricting these religious conversions. Furthermore, when someone converts to another religion, this disqualifies them from the reservation policies and quotas, as the scheduled castes do not include Muslims or any other religion, just Hinduism. This means that even though they have changed their names to avoid this type of discrimination and converted to another religion, now they have even less chances of getting an education or a job. People convert in hopes of a better life, but sometimes this also makes things more difficult for them. The documentary India's Dalit Revolution presents horrible cases of discrimination and sometimes even rape and murder against Dalits. A brutal video went viral about someone getting beaten up and publicly humiliated, and with the help of social media, this sparked a revolution all across the country. The movie also mentions that even though there are reservation policies in place, many times they do not actually work in practice. People think that converting to Buddhism will provide them with a sort of freedom, but unfortunately, this does not change their economic position. Casteism is still very much alive in today's India, and even though converting to Buddhism may not be beneficial at the moment for them, but it will be beneficial for the next generations in fighting for a better life and for better opportunities without any discrimination.
The main connection between the documentaries and the literature surrounding caste and the various forms of discrimination that come with it come from Dalit. And the focus here lies on the rise of the Dalits as scheduled caste, meaning that while the Indian government no longer formally recognizes caste, they do recognize the discriminatory practices that come with recognizing class and thus seek to improve the life of the Dalits by giving them certain privileges and rights. Um, and what we see is that while on the one hand this is happening, on the other hand, we see the Dalits actively play into this caste system in order to create social mobility and claim certain rights, showing that they shouldn't be afraid of this heritage, but instead should play into it. And what we see here is a certain performativity of caste, and at the same time, a sort of performativity of religion, which, on the one hand, the Dalits trying to move up in the world actively through claiming this Dalit heritage and showing how they are actively disenfranchised in society. Whilst on the other hand, the Dalits that try to escape this caste system actively play into religion and actively play into Islam in order to show that they're outside of this caste system and thus should not be disenfranchised in that same way, showing that they are no longer a part of the caste system and trying to escape that. And what Lichty does is he shows how people do class and how class becomes uh, this embodied practice, which shows how the middle class is constructed. And what we see is that caste and class are two very present forms of social stratification in contemporary India, where the struggle of the Dalits is no longer one of simply caste, but also has become one of class. And the difference between the two is that while caste is based on an ascribed status you get from birth, class is based on wealth. And it creates sort of this interplay whether which one of the two seems to be more important. And as Dalit proves, um, whilst the two are intertwined, there are clear differences that one should take into account. And given that while caste is reproduced by the Dalits in their favor, one should not be able to separate their caste from their class struggles.
The film covers many aspects of the perennial struggle of Dalits to escape discrimination, poverty, and deprivation through their conversion to other religions beyond their traditional Hindu religion that maintains the caste system. I believe that the film answered all the questions arising related to this specific issue. The film also mentioned the role of the charitable foundations, missionaries, and other non-profitable organizations in the propagation of their dogma. All these institutions not only grant economic benefits, but also they provide shelter, legal assistance, and psychological support to the converted Dalits. It is also referred that these foundations often face accusations regarding kidnapping and other related allegations. The film stresses out not only the struggle of Dalits to escape discrimination through the conversion to other religions, but also the disappointment that follows. They become more isolated for being either both Muslims and Dalits or Christian and Dalits. Furthermore, discrimination and untouchability are widely practiced also in their new religion settings from both non-Dalit Muslims and non-Dalit Christians. The film does not represent any bias and demonstrates all the aspects of the Dalit Muslim life. In the conclusions of the film, it is obvious that despite the fact that the Constitution bans untouchability and there are also new laws and human rights commissions to prevent atrocities, the problem remains structural within the Indian upper caste. That is the reason why the discrimination against Dalits by the upper caste supremacy has been characterized as an apartheid by the Indian Prime Minister. Thus, this perennial problem cannot be solved even if we bring the government policies and strategy into action. The basic conclusion is that poverty and discrimination are structural for all Dalits regardless of their religion. The film also displayed the very strong Dalit activist movement supported by human rights organizations that enforce the struggle for the eradication of the discriminations.